What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the report. Welcome back to a brand new video. We are here. We are back for Game 8 of the Miami Heat's NBA season, coming off a big win against the Lakers, where we played well. I thought, Bam deserves a lot of props for having the first game in Miami Heat history where a player has put up 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists. Big W. I mean, I had Bam on my fantasy team, so I was eating, but he was going crazy, and I'm expecting a very big game from the Heat tonight against a Grizzlies team that has been struggling due to injuries, due to lack of cohesion. A lot of things going wrong for the Grizzlies. They're 1-6. They have the worst record in the entire association. There's no way we should be losing this game. But something about the Heat, man, you just never know with them in the regular season. Sometimes they can just come out flat. Sometimes they can come out on a heater. So it is the first road, not the first road game, but it could be potentially the first road win of the season if we play well. We haven't won on the road this season at all. We have to make sure we get that on track. All 3 wins have been at home. If we win this game on the road, it'll be a good start to our upcoming road trip. Let's just get started with the preview. As always, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, turn on post notifications, and join the Discord in the description. And let's get right into it with the injury report, as we always do. The Grizzlies have a slew of injuries, man. They have a ton of players that are missing this game. Conchard, John Conchard is doubtful. He's probably not going to play, but he was just doubtful on the injury report. But they have 5 players who've been officially ruled out. John Moran, as we all know, is suspended for 25 games. Brandon Clark is out. Steven Adams is missing the whole season. Xavier Tillman, their backup center, is out. And then Derrick Rose, who was a good pickup for them, in my opinion, the offseason, is out as well. For the Heat, Jovic and Martin are both out. Jovic has I think Jovic and Kane both have illnesses, if I'm not mistaken. I know for a fact Kane has an illness, but I think Jovic might have one as well. And then Caleb Martin is, obviously dealing with that knee tendonitis. And then Jimmy Butler, same thing. He's probably going to play. But yeah, for the Grizzlies, they're missing 3 of their bigs in their rotation. Adams, Tillman, and Clark were all rotational pieces. So they don't really have, any centers on their roster besides Jaren Jackson, who's a 4 and is going to be forced to play the 5 probably tonight. And then Bismack Biyombo, who they literally just signed last week because they didn't have anybody else to play. So it's gonna be a very depleted Grizzlies team in the interior because they don't have the size that they usually do. The Grizzlies are usually a very big and gritty team. They like to impose their role down low with the bigs that they have, but they just don't have the luxury for that in this game because of the amount of players that are missing. So the Heat, I'm looking for the Heat to definitely take advantage of that. But yeah, let's just get right into the breakdown of the Memphis Grizzlies. So key observations. Again, I've watched a couple of games of this team. I watched the 2 games against Portland. I've watched because I've been watching Portland because Scoot Henderson is my boy, but he hasn't played that well this season. That's a different topic. But Grizzlies, they haven't looked that great, as always. As we know, because of the injuries, because of all the lineup changes and stuff like that. Like, they just haven't looked that great. They take the 4th most threes in the NBA. Like, their game plan is to shoot as many threes as possible, which I kind of expected. Just like looking at the numbers, I was like, this team is probably going to shoot a lot of threes because they just don't have the weapons down low for them to dominate a game. So naturally, a lot of their points I thought are going to come from the 3-point line. But one of the reasons they've been struggling so much is because even though they've taken the 4th most threes in the association, they've been bottom 5 in 3-point percentage. They haven't knocked down the threes at all. So that's been hurting them because if you're obviously shooting a shot that you're not making that many times, you're not going to be efficient offensively, which is why their offensive rating is almost dead last in the entire league, 29th in offensive rating. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they just aren't making their shots from downtown. Now, obviously, that could change this game. I expect some guys to just go nuclear against the Heat as they always do. But again, we're going to get into the keys, and we're going to talk about what we should do to stop this team. But just a key observation is the fact that they take a lot of threes, man. And the numbers show that they haven't made them a lot this season. But, shooting is something that is just very fluid. It can change very easily just by, rhythm or by anything like that. It's just a matter of time for some teams or some players. Like, it's just something that fluctuates a lot. It's just not consistent sometimes, team shooting, because we saw it last year with the Heat. We didn't shoot the ball that well last season at all, and that was one of the reasons we struggled for most of the year. So, but in the playoffs, we absolutely killed it from three, and we were able to play amazingly. So, yeah, the 3-point percentage is a very big talking point for the Grizzlies, as well as their offensive rating. They are top 10 in pace. They still push the ball without Ja Morant. That is their identity. They love to push the ball in transition as well. They are top 5 in points off turnovers. So when they first force turnovers, they will get out in transition and they will hurt you because they are very fast paced. They like to run with the ball. The Heat, as we all know, are a slower team. That's going to be a concern if we keep forcing turnovers against this Grizzlies team. They're also, however, top 5 in opponent points off turnovers, which means opponents are scoring a lot off of their turnovers as well, which means the Grizzlies don't get back in transition. As much as they, push the ball in transition, they just don't get back defensively. So it's going to be key. If we force turnovers, we're going to have to run out in transition before they get set defensively, because they're not a good transition defense team at all. Half-court defense is good. They're second in paint defense. They do give up the most threes per game of any team, so their strategy is basically to funnel everything down low. And it was actually surprising that they were second in paint defense because of the fact that they were missing so many centers. I was like, damn, they're actually second in paint defense. That's crazy. So second in paint defense is good though for them. Jaren Jackson is obviously he's defensive player of the year. I didn't think he should have gotten it, but he is right now. And their paint defense is still really good. But they do give up a lot of threes. Like, they give up the most threes, so it's very simple. The game plan is going to be their game plan is going to be to give the Heat as many threes as possible and limit any damage in the interior. And that's what they're going to try to do. Obviously, their key players are Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, and Marcus Smart. Those are the top 3 players right now without Ja. But yeah, that is a breakdown of the Grizzlies. Moving on to the starting lineups. There's a lot to uncover here. For the Heat, I'm expecting the same starting lineup to roll out there. Jimmy, I think, is going to play with his probable injury status. I think he's going to suit up. Lowry, Hero, Butler, Highsmith, Adebayo. I think that's a very good starting lineup. Listen, Kyle, I'm not going to lie. I got to give Kyle credit defensively for how he's been playing, man. He took a big charge against LeBron the other night. It was not a lot of people would do that. He makes a lot of winning plays. That's something about Kyle I can't question. Is his effort, is his heart, is his will to win. He just makes a lot of winning plays, and he brings a lot of intangibles that are nice. It's just frustrating it's just frustrating that a guy who's, literally like the third or second most paid player on this roster is putting up 5 points a night. Like, that's just frustrating. But apart from that, I have no complaints about his game besides his shooting. And I guess we just have to get used to the fact that he's not a scorer anymore. But just take shots, bro. That's the only complaint that I have about Kai. He just doesn't take shots, and defenses can kind of just play him like he's not there. That's my only complaint with Kyle. Apart from that, I think he's played well since the first couple of games where he looked absolutely atrocious. Hero has been looking really good. Butler had his best game, 28 points. He had his best game as a Heat, not as a Heat, but of the season. Highsmith, I think has been looking good defensively. I think he's gonna get the assignment of Desmond Bane, and then Bam. I'm looking for Bam to impose as well. This is a smaller Grizzlies team. I put Luke Kennard in the starting lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if it was him, if it was Jake LaRavia, if it was David Roddy. I don't know who else it could be. I don't think they're going to slide in Biyombo to the starting lineup because then they don't have a backup center. So I think Biyombo will remain on the bench. I think Jaren will be at the 5, though. Regardless, I think Jaren will be at the 5. And Jaren and Bam is going to be a good matchup. I'm looking for Bam to own that matchup, though. As good of a defender as Jaren might be, he just cannot guard Bam. He just can't. Jaren, he is a defensive player of the year, but a lot of that is because of the Grizzlies system, in my opinion. I don't think individually he's like an amazing defender. He's good. He's definitely good, and he's solid. But we saw it in preseason as well. Bam was having his way with him. And I know it was only preseason then, but, bro, I think Bam's going to have a big night. I really do think that he's going to have... And yes, the Grizzlies are second in points in point defense in the paint. But, I don't know. Something just tells me, like, that Bam's going to have a big night because of the personnel advantage. Like, they just don't have anybody to guard him, and I don't know who they're gonna put on him. I'm expecting Zaire Williams to be guarding Jimmy Butler. I'm expecting Desmond Bane to be guarding Haywood Highsmith, Luke Kennard to be guarding Kyle Lowry. I'm expecting Marcus Smart to guard Tyler Hero. I think that's going to be the lineups. I think Jaren's going to match up with Bam. And if Jaren is matching up with Bam, they're going to have to send 2 because Bam is absolutely going to own him every single time if that is a one-on-one matchup. I have full faith, and I'm putting all the pressure on Bam because Bam, this is a matchup that you have to win, bro, because Jaren Jackson cannot guard you. With all due respect to him and anyone on the Grizzlies, like Steven Adams maybe in the interior could limit him. His opportunities because he'd be physical with him, but Jaren Jackson is just too small. He's just too undersized. He's not big enough. Like there's no way. I think Bam should have his way with him. I think the perimeter defense of the Grizzlies will be, solid with Smart on Hero and Zaire Williams on Jimmy. Zaire Williams is a very good defender, by the way. He's a very good defender. But I think on the interior, I think Bam can have his way against Jaren Jackson. But coming to the keys of the game, Memphis do give up the most threes of any team in the NBA. So again, I'm looking for players to move well off the ball and kind of get the Grizzlies to look a little lost, because this just tells me that they just don't stick to their man defensively. They kind of just, aren't that disciplined. And I'm looking for guys like Hero, Robinson, who are coming off screens and just shooting the ball extremely well. I'm just looking for them to capitalize on that because Memphis' strategy is to give up threes. I know Smart will get the Hero assignment, but whenever Hero is off the ball, I'm looking for him to make a lot of noise with his three-point shooting. Same with Duncan coming off the bench. The Grizzlies do a very good job in not allowing points in the paint, but that's what I'm looking for. Bam in the mid-range area with that jab step, with his ability to draw fouls against Jaren Jackson. I'm looking for him to get Jaren Jackson in foul trouble because Jaren Jackson commits a lot of fouls defensively, man. He is one of these players who just fouls a lot. Like he is, I think, one of the leaders in players who commit the most fouls in the NBA. He will get in foul trouble a lot if it's a one-on-one matchup. So I'm looking for Bam to feast against them. Bane offensively is the key for the Grizzlies. He is the scorer. Cannot let him get hot, man. You cannot let Bane have 30 or 25 or anything like that because it's going to be tough because he is very, very good. I'm a huge fan of Bane's game. I think Bane is a very, very good player. I think he's underrated. But you can't let guys like him and Luke Kennard, because the last point, like I said, they shoot a lot of threes. They haven't shot it well, but they shoot a lot. They shoot the fourth most in the NBA. So they have guys who are capable. Kennard is capable. Bane is capable. Apart from that, I'm not really worried about anybody else. I think a lot of the other shooters are inconsistent, but those two in particular can really, really go off from three if they're given opportunities. We cannot let them get wide open shots. The pace, the Grizzlies play with the top 5 pace. You're going to have to make sure that, you match that in transition, especially. If we commit turnovers, we got to get out in transition. We cannot, the Heat, just by watching the Heat, we're a terrible transition team offensively. We just don't know what to do in transition. There's players running into each other. There's people who don't know what pass to make. This is just a team that's just not good in transition at all. Generally, this season it's been better, and it's been there since the Pistons game. But when we force turnovers, we just don't know what to do with the ball sometimes, and we just have to make sure we match their pace. We have to make sure that we take advantage of the fact that they're not going to get back defensively. They're just not a disciplined team defensively in transition, and we have to make sure we take advantage of that. Bench scoring is the last point. They're playing with a lot of players who don't usually get minutes. I'm expecting guys like Laravia, Roddy, Santi Aldama. A lot of these guys are going to get minutes. I don't know who their backup point guard is going to be, but maybe Kennedy Chandler. I don't know. But yeah, they're playing with a lot of guys who usually don't get minutes. So it's going to be an advantage for the Heat if we just do our job and just take advantage of the fact that they're playing with a depleted team, because the bench is going to be key. I'm looking for guys like Duncan to light up the Grizzlies because, again, he's going to be the X factor because they give up the most threes out of any team, and their bench is very depleted. So that is two things that Duncan can take advantage of. Jaquez, I think, is going to have a good game, and I think Thomas Bryant against Biyombo is going to be a good matchup, but I'm looking for Bryant to win that. But that's going to be the preview. That's going to be the preview against the Memphis Grizzlies. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, comment down below your thoughts, your score predictions. I do want to see everything, what your thoughts are, your predictions for this game. Let's make this 3 in a row, man. We have 1-2 in a row. We've played good basketball. This is our chance to win the first on the road. Let's take advantage of that, and let's play as well as possible, man. I'll see y'all later as always. Have a nice day. Peace.